Hi, I am Tammy Pausch Mason, and we are here today to take a tour of my brother, Randy Pausch's room. Welcome to his childhood room. In his room, we now have two beds that look like twin beds. They used to be bunked, a lower bunk and an upper bunk. And on the ends of these beds, by the way, these beds were made by my father, we have playing cards because our family was a huge player of cards. We enjoyed that very much. When these beds were bunked, the pictures below and above make a little more sense. In the lower bunk, you were clearly under the water. Notice the submarine. Randy, of course, was on the upper bunk. And in the upper bunk, you have a piece here. My brother and Jack Sheriff and I painted this room. There were a few things that he specifically asked me to paint. This is one of them. This is a scene of the Chesapeake Bay. He, when he would sleep up here, was clearly above the water. And in this scene, you will see some seagulls, you will see some buoys, and you will see our boat. That boat my father bought, it's called the Ginny Lynn. One story about Randy is that we would take turns water skiing, and the rule was you got to water ski as long as you could stay above the water. And I would water ski for a while, and then my arms would get tired and I would let go. Randy was a little bit of an athlete. So when he would get up, we'd be going along not too far from Sandy Point and be water skiing, and Randy still stayed up. So my father decided, I wonder what will happen if I head directly all the way across by the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, across the Chesapeake Bay. And sure enough, Randy held on the entire way across the Chesapeake Bay. And my father was amazed, and then it became almost a challenge of, could he get Randy to drop off the skis? So after he'd gone all the way across the Chesapeake Bay and Randy's still holding on, he started doing figure eights. And after about the third or fourth figure eight, with all of the weight created by the boat, Randy eventually did drop off. As you look around the room, you're going to see a lot of kind of interesting things, kind of tongue-in-cheek and cute. One of my favorites is the footprints going up the wall, and being a great person that wanted to defy gravity, now walking on the ceiling, you see a black hole, and clearly whatever was walking went into the hole. Oh dear. Over here in the corner, you see a rocket ship. One of the things that made a huge impression on a lot of people our age was the landing on the moon in 1969. Randy and I were in camp. It was a sleepaway camp. And we both vividly remember one night when we didn't have to go to bed on time. We got to go to the mess hall where they had pulled in a small black and white television and hundreds of little kids staring at the screen, watching the grainy images of landing on the moon. This is Randy's capturing of his passion for exploring, and in this case, exploring of space. And tied to that, you see a little green square in the ceiling, and that was the shortcut way, the secret passage to Venus. Over here in the room, you will see his bureau and mirror. And we all remember the mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Well, Randy had an answer to that. He said, remember when I said you were the fairest? I lied. When we were growing up, there was a young lady named Christy Johnstone who just loved my brother and was always thinking of incredibly wonderful things to give him as tokens of her care and affection for him. Randy and I grew up watching Star Trek with Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, and one of our favorite episodes was The Trouble with Tribbles. Christy found out how much we loved Star Trek, how much he loved Star Trek, and of course, as we all know, he wanted to be Captain Kirk. She, well before the advance of the internet, found a way to find and get him his very own Tribble. How I wish I had that Tribble now. Another thing that she did was find some personalized stickers that have Randy's name on them. And some of these really do date the room, including the Flying Fickle Finger Award, which was a reference to the program that we all watched called Laugh-In. One of my favorites in here is Vote Randy. Above here is another piece that I did that represented his love of chess. Randy learned to play chess. My father taught him, and shortly after he really had become good at it and studied it and read books about it and then could beat my father decided that he didn't want to play chess anymore. Randy loved chess so much that he formed the chess team at our school, Oakland Mills High School. He also actually cast with an acrylic type of substance chess pieces. So when we were working on the room, he said, "Tam, I would like you to create the knight overtaking the queen." And so I got the knight piece and I said the queen piece, and I was like holding it up in different ways, and he said, "Yes, this is how I want you to do it." So I literally held the pieces and painted it. It's also a reflection of an important theme for our family is, rooting for the underdog. And what home would not be complete without the quadratic equation on the wall? It's an equation that the math people clearly love. It's a beautiful, beautiful equation. You've got a fraction, you've got exponents, you've got square root, and you've got plus and minus. You've got to love something like that. And it is literally front and center. Randy was a mathematician to the nth degree. He was brilliant. And this reflects his love of math. Over on the far side, we see a literature reference because Randy was an avid reader as well. And at the bottom of Pandora's box was hope. Loved it. And Jack Sheriff, who was Randy's symbiotic twin separated at birth, he was almost my other brother. He spent a lot of time with our family and they were very close. Could not resist when he was working on the room. He had to add Bob. Bob Hope, as in Bob Hope, the entertainer. The elevator. This was one of his favorite creations. You've got an up button, you've got a down button. But clearly it indicates that you're on the 3rd floor. I think he thought about this later and wondered, maybe he should have made it the 6th floor like the penthouse. I love this particular piece. He has written this backwards as if someone was in the attic and writing a message indicating, "Help, I'm trapped in the attic." Down over here, you have one of the things that was one of my favorites of all 3 of my children when they were little. Beware of killer mouse. And there's the mouse hole. And just a little while ago, my youngest, Micajah, was in here and was saying, "Is there really a killer mouse, Mama?" Above his closet, it says, "If you smoke, drink, or use drugs, get out." Randy really did live his life in a very healthy way. He exercised, he never smoked, he never did drugs, occasionally would drink, but rarely. And when the doctor told him to lose 10 pounds, by golly, he did. Led a very, very healthy life. Jack and Randy worked for Columbo's, which was a restaurant, pizza place in Columbia. And their boss was named Neil. Neil did not care for disco music at all. And so he was always saying, "Disco sucks." So Randy agreed. So he put "Disco sucks" on the wall. Not long after Mom and Dad had the room revealed to them, Mom just quietly came with a white can of paint and painted over the word "sucks" because she viewed that that was an inappropriate word to have. Above the door frame were the words "Come again soon." That's a nice, friendly thing to see as you're leaving. It also bespeaks Randy's love of "let's get together again soon." And that was as true for friends as it was for family. And so I want to end this tour and thank you for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed it and take care.